It was a senseless crime. And had they done something, this animal would not have taken my family. I feel that the government should have stepped in. I feel that they allow these immigrants to come in, and how dare they strip our families like this. None of us should ever have to go through something like this.
This devastated American is now without her husband and kids. The accused killer is illegal immigrant Edwin Ramos. Incredibly, he was arrested 3 times before but never deported because he lives in San Francisco, a sanctuary city. Is it time to put a stop to this by stopping federal funds from going to cities that protect illegals? Let's go head to head.
This is an absolutely horrific crime that wouldn't have happened had the city of San Francisco not had an ordinance that prohibited somebody from just alerting the feds that the alleged murderer had committed several felonies. The city of San Francisco does not deserve taxpayer money. And I want you to know, I am not anti-immigration. I think this country has benefited from people coming from all over the world, hardworking, freedom-seeking people. We've benefited in many ways, but most of all, we've benefited economically. But this kind of economics where we fund cities to do these crazy things is absolute insanity. We need to pull the plug on them, and we need to do much, much more.
Adam, correct me though, I think that adult illegal immigrant felons are not protected under the ordinance in San Francisco, but is the solution here to cut off federal funding to solve this problem?
I don't think so. First of all, you don't just cut off federal funding to a city. You need to pass some legislation that effectively cuts off the funding, the way the federal government used highway funds as a way of forcing people to have drinking ages and whatnot in earlier eras. Secondly, no one is going to defend this horrific crime. The question is, does it have anything to do with immigration? Dagan, we're a nation of immigrants. This is a terrible situation. It has nothing whatsoever to do with immigration. It's a failure of justice. It's a failure of police work. Singling out immigrants isn't going to solve the problem. A terrible crime like this could have been committed by an American, has been committed by an American. The solution is to try to to do a better job of justice, not to root out immigrants and make their lives miserable.
But Adam, that's just it. If an American had the track record that this guy had, he would have been under the jail already. You're right. It's not about immigration per se. It's about the rights of the whole nation being usurped by a few cities that somehow have this guilt feeling. I don't know what the heck is driving you guys out there to even allow this to happen beneath your feet. But yeah, it's ridiculous for Americans. I know people with 1 arrest for smoking a joint who are in the jail. I mean, come on, this guy was being protected, and obviously we cut him off. Give no more funding. Forget about the technical aspects of it. Let's make it happen, because I don't think that's the way. This stuff happens every year, and we never see a change in these cities.
This is an awful
In America, we don't forget the technical aspects of things. We're a nation of laws, so we follow the laws.
We'll go through it, whatever it takes. But the point is, shouldn't we find a way to nip this in the bud where gang members from other countries can come here and have shelter?
But Mike, the list of the cities considered sanctuary cities is so long. Is it even economically feasible to cut off funding because there's so many cities that are considered
You could cut off funding. You can go with these economic sanctions. I understand, the reaction to want to do that. This is a horrible story. My heart goes out to this woman. I can't even watch that. But the problem is, you cut off economic aid, or you levy economic sanctions. What happens? Crime goes up. Drug abuse goes up. Perhaps the problem gets worse. I have a radical proposal. I mean, the United States should consider giving more economic aid to countries where these illegals are coming from. Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras. Maybe raise the standard. Charles, you want them over here? You want them over here? Or you want them over there, Charles? You just said you don't want them here. We're giving them aid anyway. We're giving them aid anyway.
We can't afford to pay for the ones.
Keep them over there. Keep them over there.
One at a time.
Okay, but we can't afford to pay for the ones in these countries.
Keep them over there, Charles. It'll be more cost effective.
But you can't keep them over there if you just. How are we going to pay the entire
we give out a lot of financial aid.
Mike, the bottom line, though, is we cannot give out enough money to stop them from coming in.
Cities should not determine Cities should not determine federal immigration policy, and that's what you have. You have these cities doing an end run around the federal government and taking taxpayer dollars to do it.
But it's also the federal government's job to enforce the immigration laws and to keep illegals out of the country.
How could they do that if they, well, how could they do it in this case if they weren't alerted that this person had been caught? He was allegedly convicted of the alleged murder was convicted of 2 felonies, and they don't even bother to pick up the phone and call the feds. How can the feds do their job? We have to work together.
Let me make an observation. As a citizen of San Francisco, let me make an observation here. I disagree with the way this policy was enforced. I think municipalities should cooperate with federal law enforcement agencies whenever they're asked to. Having said that, we've already alluded to this long list of sanctuary cities. What that's telling you is that's a form of civil disobedience. The cities disagree with the policy.
All right, Adam, that's got to be the final word, but thanks to everybody on that. Moving on.